I wonder what set we have for today. This one's incredibly... Well, we're on the overhead cam, in case you haven't noticed. It's so large, I can't fit it on the regular cam. This is set number 628, the extra large gray plate, as it used to be known. Nowadays, it's just called the Grey Baseplate. And on the package, it actually says... Let me see if I can get this up a little bit. It's a little hard to see, but I'll have to turn it around upside down. It says building plate, just building plate right there. This is one giant piece. This has been released in, well, it's a funny story. This one has been around for many years. And base plates themselves have been in tons of different shapes. They've been in different colors, different sizes. And I say shapes just because of if you count things like road plates, or even things like 16 by 32s, where it's more rectangular. So they're not always square. And also the different kinds of base plates that can be, included with sets that have like raised areas. But this one, as far as, this type of base plate, the gray ones, they've been around for quite a while. I'll have to find the original year and put it in the description, but this particular one doesn't really say. It says on the bottom 1996, 2010. That's for the copyright. Again, I do apologize this is upside down, but due to my camera setup, I cannot move this to any other position. And you can see it should be right around here. 1996 and 2010. And this retails generally for $15. Even past versions of this base plate have been $15. This is not the only version, if you haven't gotten that through yet. This one is the bluish gray version, and it's basically the same as some of the older ones, but it's changed a little bit in the actual color, because as most people know that, the modern gray is, or the modern light gray, should I say, is a more bluish gray. So it's kind of has a tint or a shade with it that makes it a little offset. Kind of tries to make it fresh, make it newer, and, it goes along with some of the other pieces that have been at this time made in this color, along with, that switch over with, bluish gray and bluish dark gray. Now, $15. It's incredibly, big for this kind of big base plate, but I think it's still worth it. And I know that the price per piece is obviously not comparing, one giant piece for $15. But it's not about the piece count. No, I don't count it for this video as a piece count. This counts as a base plate. I mean, where can you go wrong with a base plate? Even green and blue ones can run for about $5 to $7. And gray usually stays at like a steady $15 unless you get them online. As far as finding these in stores, I don't know many stores that actually sell these. In my area, at least. But I do know that one of my local Targets has these, and I've talked about these a couple times before. So as far as that goes, you can find them at Target. They usually have them in the bottom section of the shelves. Sometimes I have them in a little container with, fitting the right size for this. Or they might be fitting it just on the bottom shelf, just, sitting there in a little sack. They can range from, like, having 3 of them at a time to having, like, 7 at a time. So you're really not going to find too many at one time, but you still find enough that you could, gather them for your needs. Now, let's see. This is ages 4 and up. I forgot to mention that before. And what else can I say? This is one giant piece. It does have the packaging still on here. Here's how it looks on the other side. And it does have like a very thin plastic wrapping on it. You can see my hands moving across, and you can see it makes little creases here and there. But I haven't actually opened it up yet. Because I wanted to show you this side of it, how that's supposed to look. I do apologize that this is not, seeing the entire thing at one point. And you can actually see part of my reflection with this plastic wrap. So I'm going to take the camera. I'm going to move it up a bit, and now you can see it entirely. We'll take a quick zoom in on this area so you can see the It's not sad. It's the information about the set. Lego.com shows 1X, or X1, as in, you know, there's one part to it. Some of the other information on the bottom about licensing and copyrights. Here you can see some more. This is the barcode where you want to, you know, check it. I'll move it up to this top corner where they have a small picture. There's two pictures on here of what you could do with it, just to give you some starter ideas. The first one they have in the small corner we'll look at has a space scene. It has some, and both of these pictures have lots of basic bricks to them. You know, nothing too advanced, but very common to find in like bricks and mortar sets, and even a lot of city sets. So, you know, lots of easy bricks to build with. I like the style of this. On this corner, we get to see Lego, forward up, 628, that's the number. Because this has been around for a long time, so it's not going to have the 4-digit or the 5-digit. It started around the 3-digit time. And it's just been improved and updated in different ways, and they just kept the same number for it. And then on the bigger picture, you can see we got a very nice little city scene. We have a traffic light, we have a little gas station and rest stop, I guess. Like, there's like a little food store, I guess, next to the gas station. We got a car for each person, except for this guy. He's just standing by the fence. You can see kind of the construction for how this is built. So if you wanted to build something like this, you can do that from only other pieces. This does not give you the pieces to build it, obviously. But you can take a look at those, maybe take a snapshot, and you can try to build them on your own. So I'm going to put the camera back into this space, and we'll open this up. Let's start on this side where it's, you know, nice and easy to open up. You can get this little flap here. Just tear that open, or just move your hands around. It should be able to unwrap itself just by doing that. As far as fitting this into a shopping bag, they'll, you know, store clerks will give you the bag for it, but it'll just reach the width of the bag. Like the bag that I had, if you saw the haul video, it actually got caught on the sides just by the handles. So we'll put the plastic part aside. Here's our base plate. This is, I believe, this is 48 by 48. And that's counting studs. It's an exact square, and I'm just getting another base plate or so for comparison. Just to show you how big this thing really looks. First, we'll keep it at a minifigure level. And I'll show you how it looks with the entire thing out. Now, they call it X large for a reason. And that's incredibly large. Okay, we'll fit this back in again. Here is a 16 by 16 down and 32 across base plate. Fits right on here. You can even see it, you know, covering part of the base plate. Here's how that looks. So it covers a good amount of area on top of it, but it doesn't cover the entire thing. And next we have, this is part of a partial build. I was trying to build another set that I used to have built. This is a 8 down, 16 across base plate. A little bit shorter than this one. Takes about, maybe about 4 of these across, you know, to line it up to that. And then we'll put this one on here and compare the equivalents. So you got a lot of space with this. If you can't realize it, this is why I do these comparisons. So if I lay these out, this is 32, and then underneath that I have the 16 laid out. So that's 48 by 48. 48 studs by 48 studs. Now, some of you may not realize this, but that's actually a really good size for a base plate. I mean, it's the largest base plate that is in production by Lego. I actually have an older version of it, which I'm going to bring up in a comparison in just a little bit. And also, I'll show you, with that older version, what so far I've been doing to make it useful. Because a base plate like this, you can put a ton of things on there. When I first got mine, and this was the older version of the Grey, that's why I would compare the two. As far as the coloration between them. When I first got the other one, I think I also got Joppa's Prize at the same time. This was around 2002 to 2003. So I've actually had it for quite a while, almost 10 years. So when I got that, and I put this little Star Wars set on top of here, and I was like, whoa, there's so much I could do around it. Not only with the set, but also with anything that I want to build. Large base plates definitely bring about imagination. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. Any base plate can definitely help with saying, what can I make on this? What can I fill this space with that I can, of my own ideas? And there's tons of possibilities. And the larger you get, the larger you want to build. It's a really big motivation if you have trouble trying to build something, or you're afraid of building too big, if it fits or anything. If you have a base plate like this, you can go crazy. And getting more of them will only expand your imagination further. Now I'm going to take out the other base plate to show you what I've done with it so far, and what the comparison between the two is, basically by color. Okay everyone, so here we have my older 48 by 48 X large gray base plate. Now you can see that I've been working on this for quite some time. If you've been following on my channel, you'll notice that I have tons of city reviews, or not city reviews, well those too, but I have tons of city updates on which I'm mainly working on this area, and then I'll work on some of my other base plates for other ideas. But even with this base plate alone, you can see how much is fitting on here. I actually don't care that it's in a mess, because this mess shows what you can do. It's kind of like, I don't know if anyone's familiar with this, but it's kind of like when you're buying a house. You want to see how much space you can fit into the house. And sometimes you don't realize that while you're living there, but when you're going to find a new one, you don't want to see this big empty space, because you still wonder what I can fit in there. But for right now, even just seeing all this stuff on here really catches the eye, because it allows, because it allows you to see how much capacity this thing can have. Like if you looked at like a large truck that could carry like some amount of weight, just hearing the numbers sounds good, but seeing it is another thing. If you see like this big thing, this big heavy thing that's put on the back of it, and the truck can still drive, you're like, wow, that's really cool, that's amazing. And, you feel more interested in it. This is kind of what I want to do here. There's a lot of stuff in here that I've been working on for my LEGO City. A lot of this section is for spare parts and whatever I might be using, and this is the main area I've been working on. Now, this area is subject to change, so you may have to watch some other videos to see whether or not everything here is kept. Because the second floor needs a little bit of work, but we'll stop talking about that. But I want to give you a look on the inside just to see like how much depth there is, how much I can do in here. Because when I was planning the city, I had ideas for the underground area, because this is a sewer, and this one is going to be like a mining area. But, when I had the idea for the sewer, I didn't expect it to be so lengthy, so easy to use. This is really spacious, and I enjoy it. And it doesn't take up too much space compared to the other section. This is approximately, I think it's about 16, about 16 studs wide. And that's, really good compared to the other space, because you can see how much can be done in here. And I know this area actually looks very empty, contrary to what I've been saying before about my theories. But you can see, I actually extended a lot of this outward, to fit more, because this actually used to be a little bit longer this way, and I thought, you know what, maybe I don't need that much, so I pushed it back a little bit, and it still fits very nicely. This is going to be a stream area that has like toxic waste and things like that, just in case you're not familiar with the city update things. But that's the idea. There's a lot more that I can do in this space, And I'm still trying to figure out, you know, am I going to add in rooms in here, or am I going to add like electricity stuff, or I'm not sure what. But it just invites, you know, tons of opportunity for what you can do with Lego pieces. I'm just kind of spinning it around to show you what else I've been doing with this. Now, I can't really show it to you too much as far as the comparison between this base plate and the other one. Now, with this base plate, it did have a crack in it. There's a little story. This had a crack in it on the bottom. I don't know if we'll get to see it. We probably won't, but just in case we do. There was a crack on the bottom of it. I'm not sure exactly why. I can't remember exactly how, but I have ideas how it might have happened. So what I did, in order to fix that crack, and also to keep it more stable, because these things are very bendy. They're very easy to wobble around, and you know, even when you're using parts in them and they get stuck in place, you feel like just bending them in order to get them out. Now that is helpful, but it also wears down the plastic on here. It's very flexible, and you know, if you bend it too much, it could break. So that's why I think happened with this one. But the idea was, in order to keep it a little bit more secure, and you could use this tip in your own Lego creations, in order to keep this more secure and not so bouncy, even when you're building on top of it on a flat surface, I recommend this. Just add some layers of bricks. I used one layer of plates, and it holds it together a little bit more structurally, especially in the areas where it rips, because in those ripped areas, I needed something that was going to bind those pieces together. So I'd used a certain type of pieces, and those hold together, you know, to build more on top of it. So I wouldn't have these interferences of things, and things may not connect entirely. It holds together really well. And also just building other things on top of here, even the framing helps with it. Even if you add, you know, you could use more than a plate layer. You could use like a brick layer if you wanted to. You know, something of that thickness. If done correctly, and there's really not much way you can't do it correctly. I mean, it's huge. You can do it a lot of ways. But, you know, something that can hold it together and make it a little bit more stable. Because now this isn't going to bend so much. It could still bend a little bit, but it won't bend too much. That will have pieces falling off, or won't have any further breaks. Now, I wanted to try to compare this. I don't know how well I can do this from this angle. And I don't want to move all this stuff off because I'm still working on it. But you can see underneath here how that looks. It's exactly the same one as what we have here. Only one difference. And I don't know if you... I'm trying to get the difference to work out right. Let me see if I can slide this underneath. Just hold on a second. I do apologize for all the winding around, and if you have motion sickness, just be careful. Now you can see there is a difference between these two, and now I know it's a little hard to see because this one's covered up and this one's free to move around. But this is the older version of Grey, as some of the pieces are on top of here. I think this is the old version of Grey. Yeah, that's broke. This is the one that's been used for many years until... I'm not sure which year exactly that they switched over, but you might recognize some of the dark gray like this in comparison to like dark gray that used to be like this. Even if you compare those two to each other, you can see the fine difference. This one's more bluish, as I've been told. I don't know exactly if it's bluish, you know, because I'm not good with Lego colors. This one is your darker light blue, I guess. This one's a bluish gray one. You will find these in stores. You really won't find these other ones in stores because they're an older color type, and they're also not really made to be, you know, I can't say they're not compatible. Every Lego piece is compatible with every other Lego piece. But, you know, they wouldn't match up like this versus this. These two are the newer kinds. So those are the ones that are still in production and still used for Lego sets. They've been used for many years. And basically are the ones you're going to see for a very long time, unless they change them even further. So, there we have our extra large Grey Baseplate review. I know it's a really long review and probably took more time than you would expect. I did not expect it to take this long either. Honestly, I consider this a great value. For $15, you can get a base plate that's incredibly large and gives you a lot of opportunity. Even if you have a small space, and granted, I do have a small space. I mean, look, I could probably fit 2 of the extra large gray base plates along here and have like a little bit of wiggle room in between them. But, you know, even if you have a small space and you can fit one of these in here, it's excellent to use. The precise measurements for these, I don't really know, actually. I don't know, but I will include it in the description. I'll make sure of that. But sorry I didn't have it ahead of time for the video. You might be able to look it up online if you find the right sources. But I will put it in the description to be sure. So thanks for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more LEGO set reviews, and I will see you later. Oh, in case you're wondering, what am I planning to use this giant piece for? Well, that's kind of a secret. This extra large gray base plate is not going to be used for the city right away. Although I would like to make it for the city, I'm actually planning on using it for some other things. Maybe it'll go into the city at some later point. Maybe it could be just an add-on, you know, right along here. And just look at that. You know, you look at like where you have an open space and then you look at where cram space is. You're just like, wow, it's like underdeveloped or something, you know? You're just like, what can I do there? And that's what I love about gray base plates. Blue base plates are excellent too, and green ones are great too. But blue base plates always rock. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time. And one last thing, in case you were wondering, that is just a little paper layer. It's just part of the packaging, it's not really on top of the base plate. So, as you saw before, it's no big deal.